Jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town. Get out of town.
So let's leave that there. Let's put the international stuff aside for a moment, and let's deal with some of the things happening in America right now, because the great divide in our country is that we have some states that basically work. They happen to be red, and we have a whole bunch of states that really don't work, and they happen to be blue. So,
all right, folks, buckle up. Today we're diving headfirst into the absolute train wreck that is New York under Governor Kathy Hochul. You know, the state that used to be the shining jewel of the East Coast. Well, it's looking more like a tarnished penny these days, and we're going to be exposing exactly why that is. We're talking about policies so backward, so utterly disconnected from reality, that they make you feel as though these politicians are living on a totally different planet. From begging millionaires to return after telling them to leave, to spending an astronomical amount per homeless person with absolutely nothing to show for it, New York is a masterclass in how not to run a state. We're going to be breaking down the hypocrisy, the jaw-dropping incompetence, and the sheer audacity of it all. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will either make you furious or make you want to pack your bags for Florida or Texas. Let's roll the tape.
oh, we're going to get to Cali in a second, but we will start in the place that I was born, New York. It is very sad to me what has happened to New York. Kathy Hochul is the governor of New York, and here she is, begging wealthy New Yorkers to come back. They have lost so many wealthy people who they need their tax dollars from for their giant government programs that Kathy Hochul, who was once applauding the fact that these people left, she needs them back now because she wants their cash.
And being conscious of the facts that I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. Right? Now, there are some patriotic millionaires who stepped up. Okay, cut me the checks. I mean, just if you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote work changed everything.
Wow, just wow. So let me get this straight, Governor Hochul. The same person who presumably designs or at least champions these generous social programs now has to beg the very people she alienated to come back and pay for them? This isn't generosity, folks. This is a shakedown. It's like throwing a lavish party with someone else's credit card, running up a huge tab, and then being shocked when the card holder skips town. This whole idea of generous social programs is always a red flag for me, for sure. It's almost always code for we're going to spend your money on our pet projects with little to no accountability or actual results. And the kicker, they need quote unquote high individuals to foot the bill. These are the people who actually create wealth, create jobs, and paying the lion's share of the taxes. You drive them out with these punitive taxes and regulations, and then you have the audacity to be surprised when your budget craters. It's a classic progressive playbook. Promise the moon, expand government programs beyond belief, and then when the bill comes due, blame everyone but yourselves. They act like these wealthy individuals have a moral obligation to fund their fiscal mismanagement, rather than recognizing that people have a right to keep more of what they earn. Newsflash, Governor Hochul. When you treat productive citizens like ATMs, they'll eventually find an ATM that's not constantly trying to empty their account. This is just the beginning of the absurdity, trust me.
There were people who could only work in an office in Manhattan or work in New York State, and they were captives to our state. They were going to stay. We saw that that's not the case. I mean, Wall Street businesses looking at Texas, they're not going there because they have a nicer governor. I know that for sure. But they're going there because of the tax rate. We have to be smart about this.
I like how everybody half laughed. I don't know. I would gladly take Greg Abbott over her. Does she strike you as very nice? I don't think so, but that's a sidebar. Note she says, I need high net worth. Cut me the checks for the very generous social programs we have. Oh, so she's very generous with other people's money. So just cut her the checks. She also says that some of these patriotic people will give her the money. It's like, all right, lady, well, if whoever's left, they stayed in New York, why don't you just ask them for more money? right? They're staying. They must be supporting you. So why are they only giving you the bare minimum that you can steal from them via taxes? Why don't you just ask them for more? And then she has the gall to say, why don't we go down to Palm Beach and try to bring these people back? They don't want to be there. They fled because of you. Ironically, when you're talking about your generous social programs that don't do much, if they did much, you would have much less homelessness. You would have cleaner streets. You would have safer cities, et cetera, et cetera. While you're talking about that, you're the same person that's pushing people to places where they're taking less of their money and the services are better. So ironically, she's making the greatest argument for federalism, right? The argument for federalism is, oh, you don't like it here? Well, then go there and see what happens. And what's happening is those people in West Palm who now have a little bit more of their money, they're also realizing that they're happier and they can do with their money what they want. And that doesn't make them less patriotic. It's completely absurd. But you might say, well, why did they leave? She's such a nice lady. She's much nicer than that mean Greg Abbott. And, you know, she's got all that makeup. She's just lovely. Maybe they left because when she said this in 2022.
Fighting to bring government back to the people and out of the hands of dictators. And we're here to say that the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town. Get out of town.
So that's her 3-4 years ago telling the millionaire class, get out, we don't want you.
There it is, folks. The absolute height of political hypocrisy, caught on tape. She literally told them to jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong. Get out of town. And now she's scratching her head wondering why the tax base is eroding. It's not rocket science, Governor. People tend to listen when you tell them to leave. This isn't just a gaffe. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature and economics. You can't insult, tax, and regulate your most productive citizens into submission and then expect them to stick around out of some misplaced sense of patriotism. Patriotism isn't about funding failed government policies. It's about loving your country, and for many, that means seeking opportunity and fiscal sanity elsewhere. And guess what? They did go to Florida, and Florida is booming. It's almost like when you create a welcoming environment, keep taxes low, and don't treat your residents like cash cows, people and businesses both thrive. Meanwhile, New York is left holding the bag, wondering why all the good times packed up and headed south. This isn't just ironic, it's a self-inflicted wound, a political own goal of epic proportions. She literally gave marching orders and they obeyed, and now she's shocked. You really can't make this stuff up.
What happens over the course of 4 years? They listened to her. They got out. They moved to Palm Beach. They moved to Florida. They're saving their tax money. They're doing better. They're building businesses. Florida is #1 in virtually every metric that we can grade anything on right now, right? So Florida is reaping all the benefits of New York's disaster. But like mirror, it's the mirror thing. Get a mirror lady. You're wondering why they left. You literally, when you were elected, during your speech on election night, told them to leave, and they listened to you. And then, of course, what happens when you do things like that? When you punish the productive people? And what does she need? She needs her generous, what does she call them? Generous social programs. Well, her generous social programs, they don't really do much. This is wild. Right now in New York City, they're spending $81,000 per homeless person. Take a look.
$81,000 per homeless person. Let that sink in for a second. That's more than many working families earn in an entire year. And what are they getting for it? More homelessness? This isn't a generous social program. It's a black hole of taxpayer money, a fiscal dumpster fire that's burning through cash faster than you can say failed policy. Where is the money going? Each homeless person getting a luxury condo, a personal chef, and a concierge service? Because if they are, it's clearly not working to get them off the streets. This is the ultimate proof that simply throwing money at a problem, especially when it's other people's money, does not solve it. In fact, it often makes it worse by creating perverse incentives and unsustainable systems. If New York is spending $81,000 per homeless individual and the problem is growing, then every single dollar of that is a failure. It's not helping the homelessness, and it's certainly not helping the taxpayers. It's enriching someone somewhere, but it's not achieving its stated goal. It's a testament to the fact that big government solutions without accountability and real-world results are just expensive illusions. This isn't generosity, it's gross negligence, and it's bankrupting the state one $81,000 homeless person at a time.
They let them live someplace
It'd be
else.
one thing if they were proving that spending all this money is helping the homeless population get off the streets and get back into work, but there's no sign of that. In fact, the homeless population is only growing in this city.
So think how crazy that is. She wants her generous programs, generous, well, they are generous, $81,000 per homeless person. You would think you'd get less homeless people. You'd think these things would be working, but actually the more money you shovel into it, the more homeless people you get. We spend less on that in Florida and we have less homeless people. And by the way, homeless people, everything being equal, would rather live in Florida where it's not cold and it's safer and everything else. Fortunately, they're at least staying in New York for now. But of course, it's not just New York. All of these places where they want their generous programs and they want you to be patriotic and give them more of your money.
So there you have it, folks. New York under Kathy Hochul is a case study in how progressive policies, fueled by hypocrisy and a blatant disregard for fiscal responsibility, can dismantle a once great state. From telling productive citizens to leave only to beg for their return, to throwing astronomical amounts of money at problems that only seem to get worse, it's a masterclass in mismanagement. This isn't just about New York. It's a warning for every state tempted by the siren song of generous social programs funded by endless taxpayer dollars. The consequences are real, and they are dire. We need leaders who understand basic economics, respect individual liberty, and prioritize effective solutions over virtue signaling. What do you think? Is New York a lost cause, or can it be saved? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share with your friends who need to see the truth, and subscribe to the channel for more unfiltered takes on what's really happening in our country right now. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep fighting for sanity in politics.